6 cruise lines that millions of people our age have been loyal to for years, and a growing number of seasoned cruisers are quietly walking away. Not because they stopped loving cruising, because something has changed. And after more than 20 years of sailing most of the major lines, I can't pretend I haven't noticed it too. Welcome back. If you've been cruising for years, maybe decades, you'll want to hear this one. Today we're going to talk honestly about 6 cruise lines that are losing senior cruisers at a rate that surprised even me when I started paying attention. Not a hit piece, not a grudge list, just an honest look at what's shifted, why people our age are making different choices, and what it means for where you sail next. The one that generated the most conversation when I mentioned it to other cruisers, that one's coming up in the back half of this video, so stay with me. If this kind of honest, no-nonsense content is useful to you, tap the thumbs up. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people like you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. Let's get into it. We'll start with the lines where the shift has been most visible and most talked about, and then move into the ones that might actually surprise you, the names you wouldn't expect to be on this list. Line number 1, Royal Caribbean. Here's the honest truth. Royal Caribbean built its reputation on being the biggest and the boldest, icon of the seas, wonder of the seas. These ships are engineering marvels. But marvels designed, increasingly, for a very specific kind of cruiser. Families, thrill seekers, people who want water slides the height of a 10-story building and a laser tag arena before dinner. For those of us who've been cruising for years, the scale itself has become the problem. We're talking about ships carrying 6,000, 7,000, sometimes close to 10,000 people when you count the crew. The hallways feel like an airport terminal. The pools are standing room only on sea days. And the guest-to-quiet space ratio has tilted so far toward entertainment that finding a peaceful corner to sit and watch the ocean, which is the whole point for a lot of us, takes real effort. The value math has shifted too. Royal Caribbean's drink packages, specialty dining, shore excursions, Wi-Fi when you add the extras that used to feel optional, you can easily land somewhere between $300 and $500 per person per day on a mid-range sailing. That number catches people out more than once. The base fare looks reasonable, the final tally doesn't. This is the kind of thing a lot of seasoned cruisers have been saying for 3 or 4 years now. Royal Caribbean hasn't stopped being a good cruise line. It's shifted its product toward a different customer, and a portion of the senior audience has noticed and started voting with their wallets. Line number 2, Carnival. Carnival is the most booked cruise line in the world. That's worth saying, because it means something. There are millions of people for whom Carnival delivers exactly what they want. And if that's you, no judgment here genuinely. But the Carnival experience has drifted toward a younger, louder, more party-oriented crowd in a way that's hard to ignore. The fun ship positioning is real. The late-night atmosphere, the energy, the vibe on certain sailings, it's been amplified rather than softened as the line competes for a younger demographic. For people our age, the friction tends to show up in specific places. Noise levels at night, the pace of service when ships are sailing at full capacity, and the general atmosphere in public spaces. These aren't complaints about Carnival's honesty or competence. They're observations about fit. The product has been tuned for a customer who isn't most of us. There's also a practical money point here. Carnival's base fares are among the lowest in the industry, and that's genuinely useful. But the upsell pressure once you're aboard is significant. The drinks packages, the steakhouse, the priority boarding, the room service fees that didn't used to exist, the gap between the price you booked and the price you paid can be jarring. Roughly speaking, budget somewhere between $50 and $150 per person per day above your base fare if you want to cruise comfortably without constant mental arithmetic. Stay with me, because one of the lines coming up is one that genuinely surprised a lot of veteran cruisers, a name that used to be considered a gold standard for people our age, and whose recent trajectory has been quietly disappointing. Line number 3, Norwegian Cruise Line. Norwegian pioneered something genuinely useful: freestyle cruising. No fixed dining times, no assigned seating, eat when you want and where you want. For people who hated the old rigid dinner schedule, this was a revelation. And for a long time, Norwegian threaded the needle well fun without being chaotic, flexible without being anonymous. What's changed is the fee structure. Norwegian has become, in the view of a lot of experienced cruisers, the line that charges most aggressively for things that used to be included. Service charges, specialty dining that feels almost mandatory because the main dining room options have been pared back, spa fees, the drink package. That sounds like a deal, but requires careful math before you'll know if it actually is. Norwegian's newer ships, the Prima class, the ships built for the last several years, are beautiful. They're also laid out in a way that prioritizes specialty restaurant real estate over complementary options. That's a deliberate product decision. It's not a secret, but it changes the experience in ways that matter to cruisers on a fixed income or a careful budget. The dining situation in particular is something I've seen catch people off guard. You board expecting a certain level of included dining, and you find yourself being guided gently but consistently toward paid options. Over a 7-night sailing, that friction adds up both in dollars and in the feeling of being upsold at every turn. Now, right around this point, we've covered 3 lines, and you can already see the pattern taking shape. Ships engineered for scale, upsell pressure that's changed the real cost of cruising, and products that have drifted away from what used to make these lines great for people our age. That's a lot of ground, and there's more coming, including the one I mentioned earlier that surprises most people. If you want to go deeper on all of this, the complete picture of what to watch for, the questions to ask before you book that most cruisers only think of after they sail, and a step-by-step guide to cruising smart, comfortable, and confident at any age, that's exactly what I put together in the Seasoned Cruisers Complete Pack. The link is in the description, and you can scan the code on your screen right now. It's the resource I wish I'd had before my first dozen sailings. Everything the video barely has time to touch, laid out properly. And with that said, let's get to the name that surprised people the most. Line number 4, MSC Cruises. MSC is the fastest growing cruise line in the world right now. Headquartered in Geneva, operating out of every major ocean on the planet, and pricing its product aggressively to grab market share. If you've been watching the cruise space, you've probably seen the ads. The ships are large, the fares are low, and on paper, the deal looks remarkable. Here's where the experience diverges from the brochure for a lot of senior cruisers. MSC's core business is European, and the European mass market cruise aesthetic louder, faster, more transactional service doesn't always translate smoothly to the expectations of North American passengers who've been sailing lines like Holland America or Princess for 20 years. The service consistency issue comes up repeatedly. MSC operates ships with crews drawn from dozens of nationalities, and the training and service standards can vary noticeably depending on the ship, the route, and frankly the sailing date. On some MSC ships, the service is genuinely excellent. On others, the experience in the dining room or at guest services can feel impersonal in a way that grates on cruisers who are accustomed to being recognized and remembered. There's also the loyalty program situation. MSC's Voyages Club has been restructured multiple times. Cruisers who built up status on the old system found the goalposts moved. If you're the kind of person for whom loyalty perks, priority boarding, cabin upgrades, onboard credit are part of the value proposition, MSC's history here is worth knowing before you commit. Have you sailed MSC and had an experience good or bad that surprised you? I'd genuinely like to know. Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and this is one of the topics where real experience beats anything I could tell you. Line number 5, Virgin Voyages. This one might feel obvious, and I want to be fair here, because Virgin Voyages has done some genuinely interesting things. Adults-only policy, no kids. Included specialty dining across the board. A vibe that's intentionally different from the family megaship model. For a certain kind of traveler, this is exactly what they were looking for. But Virgin Voyages has explicitly positioned itself for a specific age demographic, and it is not people our age. The marketing is unambiguous. The onboard culture, the music, the entertainment, the late-night programming, the general atmosphere skews hard toward the 30 to 45 bracket. The brand voice is irreverent, in a way that some of us find fresh, and some of us find exhausting after about 48 hours. Mobility is also worth mentioning plainly. Virgin ships, Scarlet Lady, Valiant Lady, Resilient Lady, are stylish, but the ship design prioritizes aesthetic over accessibility in some ways that matter. Crowded bars as social hubs, entertainment venues that require standing, walkways, and common areas that assume a certain ease of movement. None of this is disqualifying on its own, but taken together, it paints a picture of a ship designed for a body 20 years younger than the median senior cruiser. I'll be honest, this isn't really a story about decline. Virgin Voyages is thriving with its target audience. The story is about fit, and for most people watching this video, the fit isn't there. Line number 6, Celebrity Cruises. And here it is. The one that genuinely surprises people. Because Celebrity was, for a long time, the gold standard for older cruisers who wanted something a step above mainstream without paying seaborne prices. Elegant ships, excellent food, thoughtful service. The Solstice class and the Reflection were genuinely beloved by seasoned cruisers. What's happened since the Edge class launched has been a slow but real shift. Celebrity has been repositioning upmarket in terms of price, while simultaneously repositioning younger in terms of vibe. The Retreat Celebrity's ship-within-a-ship suite experience is genuinely luxurious and priced to match, somewhere between $500 and $1,000 per person per day on premium sailings. For people who can spend at that level, it remains exceptional. But for the cruiser who has been loyal to Celebrity for 15 or 20 years in a standard veranda cabin, the value equation has changed. The included dining that used to feel special has been simplified. The price of everything ancillary, the drink packages, specialty dining, gratuities, Wi-Fi has climbed steadily. And the onboard programming has shifted to attract a younger, wealthier audience that Celebrity's parent company, Royal Caribbean Group, has identified as its growth target. The service hasn't collapsed. The ships are still beautiful. But there's a version of Celebrity that used to feel made for people our age, and that version has been quietly retired in favor of something that serves a different customer better. This one stings a little, honestly, and I know I'm not alone in that, which is why it had to be on this list. Now, I want to be clear about something before we wrap up. None of this means these 6 lines are bad cruise lines. Several of them are the biggest in the world for a reason. Millions of people sail them and come back happy. And if you are one of those people, if Royal Caribbean's megaships are exactly what you want, or if Carnival's energy suits you perfectly, then by all means keep sailing them. No judgment here. Not even a little. What this is really about is awareness. The cruise industry has been changing its product, and a portion of that change has come at the cost of the senior cruiser. The lines that used to build their product around people our age have been chasing a different demographic. Some have done it openly, some have done it quietly, but the pattern is real, and you deserve to know it before you book. The lines that have been gaining senior cruisers during this same period, by the way, the ones where the product has moved toward us rather than away, are worth a whole separate conversation. I'm working on that one now. It covers a handful of lines, including some names that might genuinely surprise you, and what specifically makes them different for people our age. Subscribe so you don't miss it when it goes up. Now I want to hear from you. Has one of these 6 lines disappointed you recently, or have you had the opposite experience, sailed one of them, and thought the product was still right for you? Drop your honest take in the comments below. Tell me which line, tell me what you found. I read every one of them, and your experience matters to the conversation. If you found this useful, hit the thumbs up before you go. It's a small thing that makes a real difference for how many people like you actually see this video. Until the next port, take care of yourselves.